So let's do a wireframe of the app that we're going to design. So we'll start off and we'll have some sort of home page here. This will be the front page of the app, and we might have an image in here or something, and some way to actually sort of start the slideshow, and like a little button or something. Now Mendix tends to use a sort of a greater than symbol inside a button that you can click on to start something, so we'll use that as the image. And we'll have a series of pages. So I'll do 3. Obviously you can have as many as you want. And inside each page we'll have some sort of image, something like that. And then there'll be 2 buttons in the bottom corners, bottom left and right corners. And that's how we'll be doing our navigation. So there's a sort of forward and backward idea with this. So you'll click on this button and that will take you to here. You click on this button, that will take you to there. Click on this button, it'll take you back to the beginning page. Obviously we'll have buttons that enable you to sort of go backwards in the path, like that. And this button on the home page will lead you into that chain of pages, which will describe or show our sort of our little slideshow that we're going to set up. Okay, so let's start building our slideshow app. I've got Mendix running here. I'm going to use a blank web app, and I'm going to use that as the starting point. And let's call it slideshow. And because this is just a silly sort of small example, I'm not going to worry about all the online services. If I say no at this point, then it won't create the sort of developer platform, the buzz pages and all that kind of stuff, which is fine for this. It's just going to be a small app. And I'll leave this where it is. Obviously you should change the app directory. That's where Mendix is going to save all the resources that make up your app. I'm just going to leave it pointing to here at the moment. So I'll click on Create App. Now, because I said don't create all the online services, creating a blank web app in this instance should be very quick. It'll take a little bit longer if you're actually using the full feature set of Mendix. Here we are. And you can see we've got the standard Mendix layout here. So a quick introduction to the layout while it's still continuing to set the app up. On the panel on the left, we have the App Explorer. Here we can see the individual components that make up our app. For most of the apps that we'll be developing, we'll just have one module, one container for the parts that make up the app. Obviously, if you had a bigger app, like an enterprise app, you could have multiple modules for almost all the work that I'll be playing around with here. I'm just going to use one module. You can see it's over here. It says My First Module. When it's been created, it's created 4 things inside here that we can configure, we can change for our app. So we've got the domain model. That's where we can configure the data storage that will be required for our app. Now, our app today isn't going to need any domain model work, so I'm just going to leave that as it is. We've got settings, we've got the home page, home web. This is the page that's been brought up here, you can see it. And we've got some images, an image library that we could use inside our app. So these are going to be static images that we want to actually place inside the app that are going to be part of the interface. So that's the App Explorer, that's that panel on the left. In the middle, we've got 2 things going on. This will be the main place where we do our editing. We'll bring resources, whatever it is that we want to do inside our app, we'll bring them into the main page here, and we'll sort of tap on them, edit them, configure them. Down the bottom here, in this panel at the bottom of the central part, we get error messages. If you're going to use the stories and the Scrum and the sprint ideas of your app, and obviously when you make those changes and you make those stories, those will appear in this part here. We'll also get error messages and things down here in the console, so it's worth keeping an eye on that bit. And the panel on the right over here, we've got the toolbox. So that contains all the widgets that will actually drag and drop into our app as we're constructing our app. And when we have components inside our app and we want to configure them, change the way they behave, what we can do is we typically click on them, and then we'll go into properties over here, and we'll see the properties, the characteristics of that thing, that widget that we can change so we can configure it inside our app. And as we click around, as you do that, you'll notice obviously the properties change depending upon what I'm clicking on. And that's the basic layout of the Mendix IDE.